What kind of regret have you done?
What is the worst thing you've ever done?
What is your deepest regret?
What are you asking for?
What is your deepest regret?
At age 15, I was smoking marijuana. In a moment, I could and soon found that everyone around me was drinking alcohol. So I thought I would try it. I thought my parents and siblings drinks so couldn't be that bad. I drank so much that first time that I got very sick. Truth is I didn't like drinking but I was socially acceptable. So I drank as much as I could. I couldn't seem to get enough. My drinking and using marijuana continued for 2 years. At age 17, I began to wonder. I began to realize I was not good at school or sports. So what I am going to do with my life? I was hanging around with the wrong people who told me I didn't need school. I felt at home. I said yes and used cocaine for the first time. It didn't faze me. I began using cocaine at school and eventually get enough so I could make some extra cash. One of my mistakes was bringing this sometimes to school to sell my classmates. I was very successful, but the principal caught and long story. I got kicked out of my school. My family was furious. I continued my schooling at home and didn't quit well. My family thought was all over there, but it did not change who I was spending time. I did not change my relationship with drugs and alcohol. What I thought was heroin turned out to sometimes called fentanyl. Something I didn't know about. I love it. I couldn't feel worthless. I couldn't feel in pain. I felt love. Not by people, by these sometimes.
The idea of getting high drives your life, and nothing and nobody is bigger than that. And spending a lot of time alone so that people wouldn't know. He kept different house from his parents, with whom he lived and helped onto a job. I thought he was partying, maybe smoking marijuana. I was clueless that he had an heroin drug problem, said his mother. 3 years, literally, I almost killed myself. I had destroyed myself and people around me in a very short time. He shot up and vomited. The next day, his eyes, nose, and chest turned yellow. At Washington Hospital, he was diagnosed with hepatitis C, a liver disease that can be spread through drug use. He immediately called a local treatment center and a pastor of the church. And they said, I've always said a diet sucks because all you think in food, not trying to do drugs. The best diets that work are the diets that come with a lifestyle change. Charge, he said. It's about becoming a new me, and that's what is the program did to me. I became a different person than I was.
Around 4 years ago, I was a vendor on the darknet. It was relatively short thing. I was just doing it because I was too lazy to get a job. And at that time, I didn't want to settle for the 9 to 5 thing. I started my store with 3 drugs, ketamine, meth, and some outdoor weed my body was getting for super cheap price. I was about 5 days Someone contacted me and told me that their friend died from my drugs. I immediately deactivated my vendor account. I didn't even need confirmation. I knew what happened. I still think about them every night. I saved their names and Googled them a few years later. I was able to find info on 4 customers that definitely died. One customer shared it with a friend and both of them died. People I used to know have distanced themselves immensely, and I know it's because I am a shell of my former self. I can't help it. Could I even tell a therapist about this? I don't feel like myself to be alive. I don't deserve to be alive. Am I really leaving anyway? I don't even know anymore. Maybe this will help me feel better. This one, I don't know about this one, but I can't say what I would have done in their situation. You know, each and every one of us has our own problem that we don't know about. You know, putting ourselves in their shoes. I can't just, judge their situation. It's really hard on them.
I'm not a drug user not until my mother dumped with the other men. I ruined my life because I haven't mom and dad. In Mandaluyong, I learned to take drugs because of my friends. I learned to sell drugs. I wasted my life stealing to make money and buy drugs. Instead of buying food, I buy drugs. Because my body is looking for it. I was shot by the syndicates. At the time, I felt like I was floating. Maybe that was the end of my life, not until I heard my mother's voice. I suddenly wanted to get up from lying down. That time, I was crying. I prayed to God. He gave me a second chance. And I promised that I will fix myself. There was a miracle after my operation. I recovered for about 1 month. When I stepped out at the hospital, I told myself this is my second life. Now, I'm not into drugs. I joined anti-drug campaign.
I took magic mushrooms once too. We picked them ourselves, boiled them and drank the water. We had a couple of kilos between 4 of us. I became convinced that I was in a parallel dimension, then forgot completely I had taken mushrooms. I went crazy. Ended up in the hospital and had to drink a charcoal liquid to absorb the drug. I guess it's like the guy earlier was saying. Some people aren't wired for psychedelics. Although I've taken acid before, it was nothing like as powerful as mushrooms. I've not really been the same since. I've sometimes struggled with depression and anxiety.
When we say drugs, the first thing that will come in our mind is the death and the crime. We all know that Philippines is one of those countries that have a lot of cases about drugs. People are taking it in a wrong way. Drugs are usually used as medicine and doctors are actually prescribing them to the patient. But because of the wrong use, it leads us to think negative about it.